the fact that we were ushered away, kind of a secret for the longest time. In fact, I first heard about it when I was a junior in high school. First time. And when the teacher said that, I thought, I was there. So I came home, and it's the Japanese way. Mom said, we just didn't want to talk about it because it would be a criticism against their political leader. You don't ever criticize your parents or the leaders or whatever. It's a Japanese way of being. So it was just never spoken at home about what happened during camp. Never. And my father had the position of block manager. He was like a liaison with the Army staff and the incarcerees while we were there in Poston. So after 3 years of that kind of living with stark barracks room and army food, Oba-chan didn't like the mac and cheese. She was used to Japanese food. So that's when the incarcerees started to grow their own vegetables and to have some stir fries and even boil and make some rice. And we started to have more ethnically friendly food. But I like mac and cheese, but Oba-chan was not used to that, so she lost a lot of weight. And I also am very passionate about my work with the museum to make sure that people hear the story and can go back. And I'll never forget, one of our visitors from the East Coast was a woman in her 80s or 90s. She never even knew that this happened to us. She was surprised. And when I pointed to the picture in the exhibit about Poston and explained where we were, she took my picture. And it was sort of like I was an exhibit, a part of the museum. But that's why I'm sticking with it. I mean, we have other people who were storytellers because they were much older and had many more experiences. And I'm sure that if we had done more with oral history interviews, we would have had those stories saved. But some of those, unless someone has a really good memory, are going to be lost. So my other passion is to make sure that it's a multicultural audience that we have. They're not all just Japanese. Some people thought that this was to teach the Japanese about our history and culture. But we're trying to do some diversity. In fact, one particular event we had was with the Mexican-American community and sharing how we both had some things in common as far as suffrages or some of our liberties that were lost. And I do remember working the fields in Watsonville and getting to know and speak with some of the braceros. So my Spanish became much better because I was using it a lot in Watsonville. My Japanese started to dwindle after my grandmother and my father passed on. I'm hoping that with what we're doing today, more and more people will become involved with the museum and help us in whatever way they have to keep the story going and to remember what happened.